They're up, they're down, they're over, and they're out. And football fans in the Philadelphia and New Jersey area want to know why. Eagles, why? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Why Eagles Why, your weekly blood pressure pill / therapy session for the Philadelphia Eagles, or in this case, a celebration of a blowout victory. I'm happy to be joined by Pete Amato and Katie Kohler, as we look over the Eagles and go through this puzzling team. We have this show in 4 quarters plus overtime, different segments. So please remember to hit that like and subscribe, and you will be notified about future videos. All right, as we break the huddle, Dave Bontempo, Pete Amato, Katie Kohler, who wants to go first in this one? The Eagles with a 44-6 triumph over the Detroit Lions. They're 3-5. Pete, did they suck you back in?
No, they didn't suck me back in because the Lions are a bad team. I mean, they had a good game last week and they almost beat a team that they shouldn't have beat, but they showed how bad of a team they are. The one thing I did like, or two things I did like what I've seen, actually one thing, and it's one word, it's aggressiveness. I love the aggressiveness shown by the team. The fans have been calling for it all season. On the defensive side, we blitzed. There was a few blitz packages I saw throughout the game. It put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and you saw it. We got sacks. They made mistakes. There was fumbles. We got a defensive touchdown by Slay against his old team, and everything was good. But I mean, the aggressiveness of the team I really liked. I'm not buying into the team yet. I still think we need a lot of work. We need linebackers. We need a quarterback, in my opinion. And the head coach still needs to be more consistent with his game plan. And saying that the run game looked great because we actually used the run game. It's just, it was kind of weird to me that you have one of the best running backs in the league not playing, which I'm a big Boston Scott guy, but I mean, Miles Sanders probably at home what did I do to this coach? What did I do to this coach? So that's where I'm at with the team right now.
Katie K, did they suck you back in?
You see, the thing is, as an Eagles fan, you're always in. You're always in.
That's true.
You're never not. It's like family. You might be mad at them, but they're always family. So I think more or less the question is has your opinion changed on this team, on the 2021-2022 Philadelphia Eagles? And the thing is, for me, no. Odds makers set their win total at 6.5 games, and they're 3-5, so they're right on pace for that. They played a Lions team that I think would have trouble in the Philadelphia Catholic League. They were a really bad team. And the thing is, I think Nick Sirianni, his staff knew that if they were going to lose that game, I don't know if they were going to be able to come back to Philadelphia. So I think that they put up when they had to. But again, you're playing a really bad Lions team. And to me, I can't gauge the team on that, because before the season started, we all had a big old W in black marker on that game. So for me, my opinion didn't change. It just saved us all from a week of real crazy talk radio.
All right. Well, you know how tough that Philadelphia Catholic League is. So, make that reference about the Lions. Hey, but even though it might have been just a one-off, what did you like best when you were watching that game and wondering, why we didn't see this when we flew out to Las Vegas together the week before to see the Eagles play the Raiders? What were the kinds of things that they were doing that you said, oh, that's where it is?
Okay, you can take this one.
Yeah. I'm gonna go serious here. My favorite part of Sunday was seeing the Lane Johnson pregame interview and seeing him really speak candidly about mental health. I know that I refer to the Eagles as family. A lot of people in the Philadelphia area, the Eagles are a part of our daily lives and we talk about them. And for Lane Johnson to really talk about his mental health the way he did, I hope that, it takes away the stigma for some people. And to me, that was the best part of Sunday, is seeing him really talk about that. And then to see him back out on the field, I think it shows real strength. And no matter what we say about the Eagles, in the end, these are human beings. And I was just really happy to see him out there and really proud of him for being honest like that.
And how about you, Pete? What was the thing that when you watched the game, you said, oh, how nice it is to see blank?
Well, actually, piggybacking off of what Katie said, is using the offensive line for what we have. I mean, we have a handful of players on this team, a core handful of players that really get to see that's been around for a few years, and two of them are on the offensive line. You have Kelsey, you have Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson came back, and he had that great interview pregame, and it was nice to see Sirianni give the offensive line a chance to really throw their weight around and use that run game. I mean, obviously, everybody's been saying, where's the run game? Where's the run game? Here's some numbers here. The Eagles rushed for a total of 235 yards. That's a season high. And Boston Scott and Jordan Howard both had 2 scores. And Scott had 12 carries for 60 yards, and Howard finished 12 carries for 57 yards. So that's what you want to see. You want to see at least 20 carries a game. I mean, that's what I want to see. And we finally saw it. We have a pretty decent offensive line, especially when they're healthy. And they're good. They're a good running offensive line. We've seen it in the past. We've seen Kelsey and Lane Johnson kind of take over games as offensive linemen. And so to give them kind of the leeway to take over a game and use the run game, I think that was the nicest thing I've seen for that game.
Okay, a celebration for the Eagles last week. Can they carry it forward against the Los Angeles Chargers? We'll look at that in the second quarter. Second quarter, why? Eagles, why? The game against the Chargers. The Eagles come in, they're slight underdogs. What else is new? Pete, there is a perception about the Los Angeles Chargers that they're going to light it up, but it hasn't really been working out that way this year.
No. They're the best under team in the NFL right now, 6-1, which is surprising because they do. If you on paper, they have a pretty stacked offense. They have a good running back. They have 2 really good wide receivers and a great tight end. And the quarterback hasn't been so bad either. So it is surprising. It could be because their defense has been on the field a little too much. But nobody really knows. I mean, they have had a tough schedule. I still think they're a great team. I think they're a good offensive team, and I think they can run up the score depending on who they play. And unfortunately, if the Eagles don't play aggressive like they did last week, I think you'll see maybe an over for them this week.
Well, they've got weapons like Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, very good players there. Yes. And the guy behind center, the rookie of the year last year, and we think he's a special quarterback, Katie. What are your perceptions of Justin Herbert, who the Eagles will go against now?
Yeah, I don't think that the fans should forget that the Eagles are giving up the highest quarterback completion percentage I know that Jared Goff will make you forget that for a week, but I think Justin Herbert's going to be quick to remind them. I really think he's going to carve up the Eagles. I do. Unless the Eagles could generate some kind of pass rush on him. But again, Nick Sirianni isn't Bill Belichick. He doesn't have that. I mean, really, nobody is, but they need to figure out a way to pressure him, or I just think he's going to have his way with the Eagles on Sunday. I really like Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers have a chance to go deep into the playoffs. So this is a game to me. I'm like, I think the Eagles, it could get out of hand for them real quick.
Well, you're talking about Justin Herbert, and your Bill Belichick reference is that he beat Justin Herbert last week as the coach of the New England Patriots. They even had a pick six against Herbert, and so the Chargers did not prevail. The Patriots, who we like last couple of weeks, coming on to get that win. But there is something about him. And Pete, when you look at quarterbacks like him, and we're seeing even Joe Burrow in his second year, looking back, that looks now like a very good draft class from a year ago with these young quarterbacks. And they're taking to the game pretty quickly. It used to be that you had to take 3 to 5 years to become a good NFL quarterback. Justin Herbert in year two, and he's a star.
Yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't think quarterbacks have a chance to take 3 or 5 years anymore. It used to be different. You see with Aaron Rodgers, guys like Tom Brady, stuff like that, where they sit for a few years and get to kind of get the speed of the game under their belt. They kind of see how it's done on the field, and then they put them on the field. Now we're kind of so starved for quarterbacks. This is a passing league, as everybody says. So I feel like quarterbacks are drafted higher than they should be, and they throw them out to the wolves right away. But with guys like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, they really have to have that like it factor of learning the game. You can have a guy with all the athleticism you want, but if they don't know how to learn the game and go through progressions and slow down the game, they're always going to be that guy that is just athletic but can't really play under center and see the field. And it seems like guys like Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and guys like you have Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, who aren't the most athletic guys in the world, but they're students of the game. And I feel like that's what quarterbacks today need to kind of see. They need to watch film of those guys and how they break down film and move forward from there.
Our buddy Bill Gelman, who is on a bye week, might like these next two numbers, Katie. 0, the amount of sacks the Eagles had against the Las Vegas Raiders, and 6 against the Detroit Lions in that win. There's a storyline in there about the pressure that they'll need to put on Justin Herbert. You said it could get out of hand early, and with that 0 number, I think that could be true. And if we get something closer to that 6 number, well, then you're looking at the Eagles staying in the game.
Yeah, Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, and Nick Sirianni, they're still learning, and they even admit to that. And Jalen Hurts is still learning. And what Pete said about young quarterbacks and young coaches, there's not a lot of time to really learn on the job. The NFL really isn't a learn on the job organization anymore, where they're like, oh, we're going to give you 2 or 3 years. And you really take the pulse of Eagles fans when you hear Nick Sirianni saying, I'm calling my dad for advice. And you even see, like, he is learning on the job. Eagles fans don't have the patience for that. And it's interesting because it's like we were all new on whatever job we've had. And it's we don't have the patience, though, for an NFL coach and an NFL quarterback to do that. So it's really going to be, Gannon has a couple days to figure out, how am I going to contain Justin Herbert? Because it's a very different story from going from the Detroit Lions to the Chargers. And, he's going to have, without Brandon Graham, you hope to see Sweat You hope to see Barnett, Fletcher Cox, if they don't trade him, just putting it out there, get some pressure on Herbert.
All right. Eagles fans, we talk about the NFC East in the third quarter. Third quarter, why Eagles, why? Dave Bontempo, Pete Amato, and Katie Kohler. As we look at the NFC East, we see a giant, not the New York Giants. We see a giant in the room as the Dallas Cowboys are 6-1. They are 7-0 against the spread. And we can't help thinking back to the euphoria Eagles fans felt on draft night when they engineered the deal with the Cowboys to leapfrog the Giants and get DeVonta Smith. The Cowboys got Micah Parsons, and then they went defense. Eagles fans were happy and chortling that night, Pete, but maybe it's Dallas getting the last laugh from that NFL draft.
That's what it looks like. This game was impressive to me, one of the most impressive games because Dak didn't play, and it looks like, I mean, the score was a little closer than I feel like the game was, but it looks like they didn't miss a beat, especially on defense, and especially with their quarterback. I mean, Cooper Rush threw for 325 yards. He had 2 touchdowns and a pick, but their defense kept them in that game, and they decided before that draft they had a plan, which feel like Howie Roseman hasn't had a plan going into a draft in a long time. The Cowboys had a plan going to that draft, and they made that plan come true. They went defense, and they got a lot of good defensive players, and they have a wide receiver that they didn't have to trade up and down the board for. They have CeeDee Lamb who looks amazing anyway. So they kind of blew the Eagles out of the water in this draft. Usually you don't say that about Jerry Jones. He kind of takes over his team a little too much, but maybe he kind of sat back and let the scouts do their job.
I think that's a major story, what they did in the draft. And Katie, did I hear you say something about linebackers?
The Eagles, they don't believe in linebackers. It's like, the tooth fairy to them. And the thing is, if Micah Parsons would have fell to the Eagles, do you really think the Eagles would have drafted him?
No.
Do you want to start a poll in the comments to say you want to vote? I say absolutely not. They wouldn't. First of all, he was a linebacker. Second of all, he's from Penn State, and we know the Eagles do not draft either of those requirements.
Yep.
They definitely need a linebacker. Are they holding out for Jeremiah Trotter's sons? He has a son of Clemson and a son of St. Joe's Prep. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. It's something that to me is a glaring issue. I've said before, and Pete really attacked me on it, I think the Dallas Cowboys are a legit Super Bowl contender. With that record against the spread, I would like to know if Pete would still bet on the Cowboys. I
don't know if I would bet on them because I just couldn't, but I mean, they have impressed me, especially this win impressed me. Their defense was supposed to be better, but their defense, they look like they have one of the better defenses in the league. And that's not even including their offensive weapons. They have CeeDee Lamb, they have Cooper, Dak, Zeke. They have a lot to show for it. Let's just hope they do what they do every year and kind of choke.
Yeah, right now, as an Eagles fan, it's disgusting. It's really disgusting to see.
But there's two other things happened in the last NFL week, which points out the offensive lines of different teams, because everybody, the Jets backup quarterback, look what he did. He also had all day to throw against the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Cowboys provide Cooper Rush with excellent time to throw, just like they did for Dak Prescott. And so you have the interchangeable parts. So you have to consider the offensive lines when you come in here. And I look at how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers always protect Tom Brady. You don't see him scrambling too much in adversity. There's always time for the top teams to throw. And Pete, I think we saw that on display last week in a special way.
Yeah, and that's one thing the Cowboys, for years, they've always had a good offensive line. They never could quite put it together, but it seems like they're doing that now. And I can't really kill the Eagles on that. They have the personnel for the offensive line. They just need to all stay on the field at the same time, which they can't seem to do. I like the Eagles offensive line. With the Raiders game, it definitely showed a weakness on their left tackle, Mulata. He showed that he can be against a speed end. He's weak, so he needs to work on that. But as far as offensive line, I think the Eagles have something to build on. I just feel like they need to get together and get on the field, and that's just not happened in the last few years.
All right, the Eagles are 3-5 as they come up against the game against the Los Angeles Chargers. As we head into the fourth quarter, Katie will give us a look at the schedule, get some ideas where the Eagles fit into the mix. Why Eagles? Why? Fourth quarter. Well, Eagles come off a nice win. It's almost imperative to sort of look ahead and say, what happens if they keep it up? What is the schedule like? So go ahead, Katie K. What do you think of the Eagles' schedule in the second half of the season? Some high and low points.
So, Dave, on Sunday, I tweeted, if the Eagles start to win, instead of underdog mask, people are going to go around in full flower power gear. You're going to see a very 60s vibe around Philadelphia if the Eagles start to go on a winning streak because of Nick Sirianni's comments about flowers in bloom. And you know what? There's a real chance of it because the Eagles have the easiest remaining strength of schedule left. And I am looking past the Chargers game, which I think they're going to lose, to the rest of their schedule. After the Chargers, they play the Broncos. Then they play the Saints at home, who lost their starting quarterback for the year. They go and play the Giants, who look lost. The Jets, who do you think the Eagles are going to lose to the Jets? Washington, Giants again, and then Washington. So to me, there's a lot of winnable games on the coming up. And while I expect them to lose to the Chargers, the other games I mentioned, I think they could win. I do. And that to me is going to be really the best barometer for Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. I said I'm willing to give them a full 17-game season. The final stretch is really going to be a good judge of that because, and it's really the Giants games in Washington. You play them twice. Do I think they're going to go 4-0 in those games? I don't, but I think they could. To have the easy schedule they have, it's really lining up for the Eagles.
Well, we should see at least 6 games that they should be in, and that's going to be exciting to watch. And the Jets, by the way, they've beaten the Bengals and the Titans on their own home turf. Shocking everybody, though, after that loss to the Patriots. How many parlay tickets went right up into the air after that upset win against the Bengals? But Pete, when you see that, the Eagles have 3 wins now. Katie described 6 games that they should be very much in. So in your mind, where do you see this final number possibly falling on their win total?
Yeah, Dave, it's interesting. I think the Eagles may actually have a chance to go over the win total. I think it's around 6.5 now. The schedule looks really weak. I feel like, especially they play Washington twice. They still have to play the Giants twice. The Saints are not a good team. The Broncos don't look like a good team, and they play the Jets, which is, in my opinion, the worst team in the league every season. But I think they could go over the 6.5. I mean, I don't see that as a problem. if they do 6.5 or under, I think that would be a huge failure on the team, especially with how easy the rest of the season looks. And like Katie said about if they lost this game to the Lions, the city would have kicking Sirianni out the door. I feel like if they don't go over that 6.5 wins, I think Sirianni might be. I'm looking for another job next season.
Well, that's the funny part about the NFL and the momentum, because it changes. Before the Lions game last week, it's they win or he's gone. And should they beat the Chargers, it's, hey, they're not that half bad. I told you they were going to be okay this year. You watch, you will see what happens with those sentiments. And we'll be back with our overtime comments. Why Eagles? Why it's overtime. Games around the league. Drumroll Pete is 6-1, trying to come off a loss, but he likes a game this week. He likes a pick in the Raiders visiting the New York Giants. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, I got my first loss. It's all right. I didn't think I was going to go perfect anyway. The Cleveland Browns let me down, but they've been letting Cleveland down for years now, so I don't really feel that bad. My pick is going to be the Raiders over the Giants. The Raiders are giving 3 points. They're playing in New York, so I get that the point spread swing like that. If they were playing in Vegas, probably would have been a 6.5 points, but Raiders only given 3 points. I think the Giants are a dumpster fire, even though they kind of put up a little bit of fight against the Chiefs. I think the Raiders are a much better team than 3 points. So I'll give the 3 points and I'll take the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay, Katie, you mentioned the Philadelphia Catholic League before, and maybe the Giants will have to go someplace like that to get players because they've got so many people hurt. But you have a question that we might phrase as, where's DeVonta?
Yeah.
What happened to him?
Why receivers? Why? In a previous episode, I said he was basically like a Maserati outside of a dumpster fire of the Eagles. I want to see more of him. He's only had 1 touchdown this year, and that was in the first game against the Falcons. DeVonta Smith has 1 receiving touchdown, and I obviously want to see more from the Eagles' first-round pick. I like the pick. I like him. I want to see him play great, obviously. My issue with that is you see some drops here and there, and it's like, as a pessimistic Eagles fan, I'm like, oh no, is this Jordan Matthews? What the heck? But then I'm kind of like, the defense obviously has to be keying in on him, because it's like, who else do the Eagles have at receiver? Rager, Arcega-Whiteside, for a guy being on the bench, how is he getting hurt every week? How hazardous is the Eagles bench that this guy is getting hurt every week?
Whiteside,
those splinters are tough.
Whiteside, the greatest blocking wide receiver.
So part of it is like, I'm not willing to start to gripe on DeVonta yet, but I want to start to see in the second half of the season, I want to see some flashy numbers, because I think he's a real flashy player.
I think they try to go to the sidelines too much with him, and that's why that first touchdown of the season for the Eagles was him. And if you cashed in on the first TD score that week, I think that was about 12-1, so that was really good. But they haven't hit him yet. They did find the running game last week. So as always, when one hole gets opened, another hole gets closed. This team goes back and forth. And next week, they'll be saying the same thing. Why? Eagles, why? For Pete Amato, for KDK, and we'll have Bill Gelman back with us next week. This is Dave Bontempo saying thanks for joining us on Why Eagles Why, and we'll catch you next time.